Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. The desk here with DJ Akademiks and Wayno.
What's up, back?
What up? What up? What's
What's going on with you today?
How was the weekend? My weekend was great, man.
Why so great?
I don't know, I didn't do anything. Played Fortnite all day, just like bummed out.
On social media acting stupid.
Yeah, man, and also, you know what I mean, I was Googling, get some security for Vic Mensa. It was great, it was great. How about you?
Crazy. My weekend was cool. I went to my homie's daughter's birthday party, and I went to a wedding yesterday. One of my homies got married.
You're such a social
Were you involved in the wedding party, or you just like went for like, because I hear it's a party, right? It's like reception.
No, I mean, I went to it wasn't like the most orthodox wedding. It was kind of like different. It was just like a gathering, and then like they spoke, and then they exchanged rings, and it was cool.
That's my kind of wedding.
No rice getting thrown, no dollar bills.
No rice getting
Nah, they was white. It was my man's white. It wasn't no jumping no brooms and throwing dollars, man. They wasn't on
no
none of that.
seasoning, no sauce. I feel it. Just read the vows, get them there. That's what's up, though. That's what's up.
Save money, get it done.
Right.
All right, so let's get into some news, guys.
Do?
I feel like it's been a while. Stop probing. It's been a minute. We had so many interviews last week. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in a while. But anyway, it's nice to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Did you guys have fun last week with all of our guests?
Yeah, hey, I enjoyed Denzel Curry. I was not defending, but I was like letting people know. I was like, we had such a great conversation off camera, like, and I do hope people do get to hear some of the other conversation that wasn't aired. We had mic issues.
Yeah, and then
G Herbo was great too.
G Herbo was fun. I went to G Herbo's listening.
Oh.
For his project, yeah.
Nice. Yo, his project's hitting. That's
hell yeah.
I gotta go check that out. And I'm so glad that you and Russ are BFFs now.
BFFs, that's generous. People said I was too annoying or talked too much or blah, some bullshit. Who cares?
Shouts out to Russ.
Shout out to Russ for coming back to talk about it, though.
We went into that one not knowing what's going to be. I'm like, Nadeska might have to pull up for a fade, or they might resolve stuff. I'm glad with stuff.
No, we're good now.
I'm glad he came up as well.
It's all good. All right, let's get into some quote-unquote news. So over the weekend, Vic Mensa sort of got into it with Tekashi69. So he called him out for biting other Chicago rappers' style. And, of course, Akademiks got caught up in the crossfire. Let's take a look.
Dirty. We seen you drive around Chicago with 8 police. Shoot the one-on-one. See what happened to you, boy. I'll turn your motherfucking face the color of your hair. So put up or shut up like your bitch-ass homie. And Akademiks, it's on sight for you when I see you. You already know you don't want no smoke with me. The whole world know it. They saw you bitch up. I called you a bitch to your face.
Lord.
All right.
Why is he so angry?
Yo, Vic, the haircut looks really good, by the way. So Tekashi talked to, no, I'm gonna let you respond. Tekashi also went to Angie's show. He addressed it, basically said he couldn't name a Vic song if you pressed him. Let's take a look.
Bounce. I know this Vic Mensa thing just happened.
I don't even know who that kid is. Like,
Stop.
I put this on everything I love. May God strike me dead on my daughter's life. I cannot name one song if someone had a gun to my head right now.
Okay, fair enough. So
who is?
All right, so Vic also spoke to TMZ, basically explaining that, look, he's sensitive about his community. He doesn't like people talking crazy. 6ix9ine was out there a few months ago walking through the streets, giving people money, saying he's giving to the community because Chicago rappers don't do it, which is obviously just an outright lie. He likes to troll. He's just clearly having fun with this. I don't even know what my question is here. Like, what's good?
Well, to Vic Mensa, first of all, I always say this about Vic Mensa. Vic Mensa's never like 100% wrong on anything he says. Mm-hmm. However, number one, he always comes across like, and I think when you look at that Angie Martinez interview where 6ix9ine says, does anyone know a Vic Mensa song? Mm-hmm. It kind of highlights the problem, right? Like the thing with Chicago and 6ix9ine happened like 2 months ago, yet it's the only relevant part of your whole conversation that people care about. Mm. The problem is nobody cares about Vic Mensa's music. They care about when he is talking about someone else that we do care about.
All right, just to be fair, there are some Vic. Yeah, we can't say that no one cares.
That's a bit excessive.
We could say that you definitely don't care.
You could say you don't care, but you can't say nobody cares at all.
Look, we're not saying he's as popular as 6ix9ine. Obviously, the studio is in the headlines all the time. Just for moderating
sake.
You
know a Vic Mensa song?
Of course, I really liked his first tape. I loved Internet Tape. I did.
Okay. Do you know a song?
All right, cut it out.
Okay.
I know Vic Mensa.
He has his fans.
No, I know one. No, I didn't Google it. Orange Soda. I do know Orange Soda.
You know another one?
Good.
I don't.
Okay.
Listen, I don't, but I'm not gonna say that nobody don't know none of his shit. Like, come on, you ever seen his shows? Like, he does good shows.
Listen, for a guy who went on tour with Jay-Z to open up, it was very sad that I was looking for Vic Mensa fans this weekend, literally.
Where were you looking at?
I was looking at Instagram comments. So I was reading all these comments on his pages because ironically, and again, he had a good point about 6ix9ine, except it looked like you were using that to gain attention for a project or a song you were trying to promote. Nobody cares about your music. I'm going to say that again. I'm sorry. Again, that happened 2 months ago. after this whole thing happened and everybody started picking up the story, hey, you're dissing 6ix9ine. Listen, nobody's gonna feel sorry for anybody dissing 6ix9ine. That is not a problem. But the next day you turn around and it's like, but fuck all that beef. This one for the ladies though. Like that was like
I'm not gonna lie.
That wasn't crazy?
Yo, it's not that was crazy. The
This
funny
one for the ladies,
the
though.
funny shit was, did y'all see the Angie interview? And 6ix9ine was like, yo, he said, man, he was looking all sexy with his phone.
Yeah, no.
Nah, that was hilarious. So you know 6ix9ine is an entertainer.
He's the worst person to beef if
He's
you
the
really
worst
are trying to
person.
make a point. He's just gonna make jokes the whole time.
Nah, I understand that about him now. Like, I really understand his method, because he was like, yo, I'm the person, like, I'll keep poking you until you're ready to cry, and then I'll stop. But he's like, I might keep poking you just to get you upset. See, I understand that. Now, what you gotta realize.
I couldn't find. Wait, hold on.
Go
Let me
ahead.
just tell you.
Go
I was
back.
searching for a Vic Mensa fan, right? So under the little post where he was saying, yo, fuck the beef. This is for the ladies, though. I'm reading through the comments trying to see like who the fuck cares about the music, and I get to realize, and it reminded me of another rapper. Well, he said it. Vic never said this, but. These are the only people who I saw like really like rooting for Vic Mensa. It was just women who thought he looked good, right? And just people who hated me. You know what I mean? There was 0 people who really liked Vic Mensa's music. So essentially he dropped the song. Nobody cared about it. And I am going to anticipate that this new promo run, because that's why he got mad at me. When he did the interview, I posted it up with a caption that said, he's found the new subject of his promo run. We all remember last time, the nigga went from station to station with different freestyles dissing me. That nigga could have dropped an album dissing me. Again, I'm not mad at what happened on Everyday Struggle, because it's a moment. Like, nigga, if I didn't do something in the moment, or if nothing happened, I'm not mad over it, nigga. I'm on the show every day. But when he used it for his whole promo run, I'm like, I've never seen a rapper use a blogger as a promo run. I was shocked. You get me? So now, of course, 6ix9ine is actually a good candidate to use for a promo run, except you have to be as clever and witty as he is, or else he'll turn it on you. So I'm just looking at him to say, Vic Mensa, bro.
Are you trolling today with that Chicago Bulls hat?
No. I always wear like. No,
You
I
trolling
always.
with that hat.
Coincidence
You
that you're
trolling-
wearing it
but-
today.
Bro, y'all know, like, I rolled up out of bed and just grabbed the most attractive hat to match with it. I
most
can't match.
attractive
No,
Cut it
but-
out.
but
I'm
look,
not that witty.
Is there any basis to this, by the way?
No,
Like
this is the
that he's
thing.
biting off other rappers' style?
But, well, 6ix9ine did say that Rondo #9 is the reason that what made him want to rap. And you've seen him use like certain artists that he grew up liking, or like he liked their music, their lines in his music. So I'm not gonna say that he bit specifically a certain person, but I mean, in New York, everybody started doing like drill type sounding music after Chief Keef and them. So and not just New York, but everywhere. Chicago influenced, that scene kind of influenced hip hop for the past like 3 years.
Right.
The younger guys, I mean, in the streets, the younger guys in the streets. So I'm not gonna just say 6ix9ine stole somebody's style, because he doesn't have anybody's style but his own. There's never been anybody other than like maybe Dennis Rodman running around changing their hair color and shit and having crazy antics.
To be fair, Vic Mensa, and that's what I'm saying, though, like, nigga be having some points, but then he's like the Azealia Banks of male rappers.
Damn, dog.
Like, nobody cares.
Wait. You
I'm
gonna call
sorry.
him Azealia Banks? You can't.
That's a stretch.
When have we
Yeah,
ever
come on,
talked
yo.
about Vic Mensa unless he was trying to talk about somebody else?
Well,
Keep it
that's
100.
because the first time we had him on the show, like 2 months in, you guys.
No. Beyond that, and he has a pattern, and that's the only thing I'll point out to you guys. He's targeted certain rappers who are the rappers who have gotten a lot of attention, and I could go back to when
But not Azealia Banks, though.
he's
Come on.
Azealia Banks. He's the guy who like, yo, I don't like this, I don't like that, and like he's never talking about himself.
All right, so go ahead, finish
Okay.
your point.
What's that saying?
I forgot, I threw you off.
Yeah, you throw me off. Fuck, I forgot.
You were saying something regarding him, like about what he says he doesn't like.
Okay, no. He has a point. 6ix9ine, I actually believe from Bobby Shmurda, right, that movement, and even 6ix9ine now, they're directly influenced by Chicago. People
Right.
got to give Chicago their due respect,
Absolutely.
right? And him drawing a parallel to say, you know what, I don't like the fact that if you're inspired by our sound and you took some lines from some of our artists that you look up to, that you would even come out here with that trolling stuff if you really understand how Chicago is. Perfect point. Got no problem with it. You get me? My problem is not with the point that he makes, which is good. My problem is usually with how he chooses to carry out that point when he makes it, and also the ulterior motive. You know what ulterior motive is? To get niggas to listen to his whack-ass music. Okay, I'm sorry to say. So the point was good. 6ix9ine can't deny that. 6ix9ine is influenced by them niggas. There's lines. So there is a compilation that you could look at. It's on YouTube or like Instagram a
When
lot.
people used went back
Yeah,
and stuff.
of course. He's very inspired by them. Like he said it when he first started, like one of the first very interviews, 6ix9ine said, yo, Rondo number 9. So you won't deny that. And that point is just different from why I think he's even going at 6ix9ine now.
Well, I think that he's a bit, the thing with the whole 6ix9ine shit and him being upset, I think he's just a bit late. Like I don't know what was going on. Huh?
Clout chasing.
I just,
So if he'd
My
responded
nigga
at the
wasn't
point
making
when
videos licking his
6ix9ine had
lips
just
when it
left
happened.
when
Chicago.
when the shit like, this is New York, right? Even in New York, we'd be upset if somebody came disrespecting our neighborhoods, posting in front of the projects, whatever the case may be, right? I understand that, but I'm just like, that it kind of came from left field to me because it's just, everything is so instant.
Yeah.
It hasn't, we gotten past this already with the whole Chicago shit. So it kind of threw me off. I mean, 6ix9ine is your man, so people always just gonna associate you with him. And you know,
I think
Vic,
it's really the caption.
but Vic, it's the
also that
caption,
too,
but
that
Vic,
too.
you know, Vic, he feels whatever ways about you, whatever, which I just feel like this, man, like, let's stop with all the bullshit. If he don't like you, then let him just say that. All of the, yo, when I see you, this, that, and third, it just don't make
Vic
sense.
Mensa has been on site for like 2 years, or like a year, however long it's been.
It just don't make sense. Ultimately, it's this, right? I'm not gonna disrespect that man and say don't nobody know his music, because I've been at Made in America and I seen him do a show.
And people,
It was
like,
a lot of
reacted?
people. It was a lot of people. It was a lot of people that went to see him at Made in America. I don't.
went to see him.
Stop! You can't keep
At
saying he
his
has
stage,
no
where he-
fans.
where he had his
You can't-
stage.
You can't say that.
But he had his stage act. He had his stage. Well, I don't know his music. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, you know, I know all of this stuff. I don't listen to his music. But Azealia Banks, the male Azealia Banks, that's crazy.
Vic Mensa is a flopping artist. Am I saying anything that's incorrect? Vic Mensa is on Rock Nation, and no disrespect to Rock Nation, but either they can't figure out how to promote his music or he can't figure out how to promote his music. He has a personality like thing where it doesn't invite people to, it doesn't make him likable where people like want to check out his shit like that. I'm sorry, that's just the facts. Now, truth be told, if we want to get past all the whatever, yeah, he could rap, but not because you could rap means you're making great music. Or did you hear the song that he just put out? The This One for the Ladies Though song? You heard that? Sir, it sounds like an offbeat bootleg version of Drake Controller. Like, it sounds trash.
Damn.
It sounds like he should have put that out in 2016. Remember when Tiger put out that song that was dancehall vibe-ish, trying to get Controller? Like, that's what he did. He's trying to be the rappity rap nigga. Didn't work. Tried to get a chance. It didn't work. Tried to cloud chase and diss other niggas. Didn't work. When we talk about his music, that's why nowadays, if you watch him do his interview circuit, you can't tell if this nigga is a musician or he's a fucking activist. Like, he talks nothing about music. And there's nothing wrong with some of the activist initiatives he tries to push, but at the end of the day, bro, like, you're a musician, bro.
I know, but at the same time, is that within his music, like him being an activist. If his narrative of being an activist is within his music, then I have no problem with that, because then he's trying to draw people in to listen to his music based on him speaking. I'm never against any man speaking up for injustices going around, right? Now, I think that some of his music does entail that shit. That's why he does it. Which is nothing wrong with that act. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
100%, you're right. Except go listen to that trash he put out Friday. And if you hear anything activist with that, it will shock you.
All right, so
Trust me.
in closing, Vic is super serious about this. Tekashi, of course, thinks it's all jokes. What's your move going forward? Because this is not going to be the first or last time, it seems like, the last time you're beefing with Vic or some other rapper.
Like,
are you just going to ignore
I gave him
moving
half a bar
forward?
like Jay did. I'm sorry. Like, yo.
You can't get nothing out of this.
No.
Like,
Everybody who's watching this, if Blue's Clues isn't hotter than anything Vic Mensa's released ever on record, I'll pay all y'all $1,000. That nigga's garbage, bro.
All right, I
pay
was
me
just...
$1,000 right now, because it's not better than Orange Soda. Blue's Clues is not better than Orange Soda.
Are you out of your fucking mind, nigga?
I'm not
You're
out of
not
my...
even heard
Nigga, out
of
of your fucking mind?
You want $1,000.
Hey,
We're going to do a little panel.
Akademiks, how about this? Can you go listen to Internet Tape? I'm curious what you think about all of this.
I don't want to listen to Vic Mensa. Only like I want to hear where Vic Mensa got like his little mascara plug from, bro. That's it.
All right, come on,
And his
man.
foundation. Did you see the picture with him
Hey,
with a
Vic,
mascara,
the
bro?
haircut looks good. The haircut looks good. You want to go to the next topic?
Yeah.
Did it just get darker in the studio?
Vic
Am I
Mensa cut the
tripping?
lights off. No cap.
All right, so we got a new record.
I love you, Vic. Yo, listen, in all honesty, whenever Vic gets past his super militant mad face, realize also his rap career isn't going too far, we can have a honest
throwing a lot
conversation.
of shots.
No, seriously. We could have his music career is not shots. I'm telling those are facts. But he has other issues not issues, but like points that are valid. And I always say it. We could get to a place that we could probably have a conversation about some of those things, and all those points, let's address them. Anything you've had with me or with anyone else, let's have that conversation. Not while you're promoting an album. I'm not just gonna, we're only gonna deal with this narrative when you're promoting an album. I get it. I know how niggas market and promote shit. And you're not gonna use those things as a backdrop as, let's get attention to get my records off the shelf. But other than that, I hope to, you know what I mean? I'm not a guy who pushes or promotes violence, and was interested to see a guy who claims he's anti-violence say he couldn't wait to do violence, even though he switched it up. As soon as TMZ called him, he got the attention he wanted. Oh, I just wanted to play Street Fighter with 6ix9ine. I get it. But when your promotion of your music isn't the backdrop of why you're doing these things, I would love to have a conversation with him. Maybe I could have my Russ moment where me and him, we're talking and we're sitting right here and you two are moderating.
Why don't you two sit?
Or Wayno's like withholding.
I was gonna say Wayno moderate, or I'll do it over Skype. I'm not trying to sit between you guys ever again. That shit was so awkward the first time.
Well, he got to blink 5 times before we start. I'm not gonna lie, yo. If you watch that footage, man, that nigga ain't blink once. I shouldn't.
Because he was serious.
He was not playing.
He was serious.
All right, on a much lighter note, Khaled's back with a new track, of course, No Brainer, with Quavo, Chance, and Bieber. Let's take a look at the video.
Don't look rich, I ain't got no chain. Not on the list, I ain't got no name. But we in it, bitch, I'm not no lame. And I keep it Ben Franklin, I'm not gonna change. A lot of these old messy. I just want you and your bestie.
All right, so previously we saw this crew together on I'm the One, which was a big #1 record for Khaled. Lil Wayne was featured on that. What do you guys think of part 2, essentially? I'm gonna let Wayno go first. Because I remember your energy the last time when the first song dropped. Wayno?
Wayno.
Yo, I mean, that song is just not for me. I don't have anything bad.
I figured you would open
Wayno
with
don't want to
something
call something
diplomatic.
trash.
No, I'm not. Nah, that shit just not for me. Like, me personally, remember the last time we talked about Bieber being on a record with Quavo and them? I want to hear, like, some hood-friendly shit. I want Bieber in the I'm So Hood world, right? I'm cool on the whole, like, it's spring break music. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a college kid. It doesn't resonate with me. That shit is not for me. Now, I just would love to hear Bieber and Quavo do some Quavo shit. You know what I mean? And even Chance, like, even to have Chance in that group to put together a record, I would like to hear them do some jump into Migos world. I'm tired of hearing those type of records, but I can't knock it because that's Khaled's
He's
hustle.
making it to go #1, yeah.
Exactly, that's his
it's pop
hustle, so.
friendly.
Yeah, Khaled might be a victim of his own success. I really fuck with Khaled, but like,
Suffering from success?
I don't necessarily want to say that. What I mean is that I think he's at the point now where he could just fucking pull any feature out of a hat, and it's like fantasy football for rap for him. Like, okay, give me a Bieber, give me it, and he just throws it on the record. All the hottest people, zero chemistry. Zero chemistry. So it looks better on paper than it sounds. And I hear the record and I'm like, this is not the hit. You get me? And again, the reason why I'm chalking up to him being at this point where he could pull for all these people, like a couple of years back when he was delivering fucking smashes, felt like there was a little bit, like those records sounded better rather than the names was the thing that wowed us. And I heard this just like I heard I'm the One. I'm the One, and I'm like, this ain't the one. You get me? Now, of course, it's like, so like Apple gave like an illustrious commercial for the song. You get me? It's like they had some shit with Assad, salute to Assad, you know what I mean? If you could hear me, you know what I mean? Or understand me.
If you could hear you.
No, my bad. But no, it was great. And when I look at it, I was like, yo, they packaged it great. It has all the names. It's going to probably do well on the charts.
Yeah.
But we know a hit. You know a hit when you hear it. I know a hit when I hear it. And this is not the hit for me. Maybe after it gets played a million times around me, I'll be like, okay, cool, but
I can honestly say, like, as a fan of Khaled records, like the ones previously, I don't feel like he's been hitting the mark like he was before. Like, even with the Top Off the Maybach record, like, that wasn't, it seems like that shit came and went. Like, nobody,
maybe it's because you don't got a Maybach.
you said maybe because I don't have a
You gotta
Maybach?
get a Maybach to enjoy that type of music.
Nah, man, nah. But it just feels like he's, like you said, like he's just pulling the names together, and it's not coming across as a well put together record. Or it's just like, put them on the beat, and let's just get this shit out. And I don't hear like the chemistry. Like even Top Off the Maybach, it sounds like they had the hook, and then J and B did the verses.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
This one, it seems like, okay, everybody knew they was gonna be on the song with each other, and they just like, it was the beat. We know what type of direction we going in, everybody flowing their verses. I don't hear chemistry with the records like before.
And perhaps, and again, of course, Khaled, who is like aside, is probably worth like 1,000,000 times more than me, but he don't gotta listen to me. But I feel like also he's chasing pop.
Yeah,
He's
so
chasing
Khaled's on
pop
tour
rather than
with
having
Jay
a
and
great
Beyonce
record
right
that
now,
will
right?
go pop. Like, like I'm sorry, but you know when Drake says the line, and I hate to bring up a Drake line, but you know what Drake says.
You're bringing up a Drake line.
Well, it applies
I
though.
hate it, sure.
No, it applies. When he says, I just made songs. Like he has some lines that I just made songs and they went pop. Right? Rather than I didn't make pop music, I just made hot shit and it went pop.
Interesting.
That's what I would think Khaled would do. Khaled, you have the name, you have the brand, you're one of the biggest like
You got the
non-rappers.
show.
You have everything. I don't think you need to make pop records. And I think Nicki learned that at some point too. Remember when Nicki used to do that? Like, oh yeah, here's the pop record I
I
did.
think she's still making pop records.
She
though.
tried.
That's the thing. So Khaled's on tour with Jay and Beyonce. I feel like he's seeing different audience are getting introduced to him. So maybe that's why. Because the last one did so well. I think it was one of his biggest career hits to date. So if you're Khaled,
I'm the one?
Yeah, I'm saying maybe it wasn't for us.
He's nominated
but
for
there
a
was
Grammy
a big
for that
there was
one,
a
wasn't
big audience for it.
Yes.
So that's why.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, all right. What I learned is, even in terms of like how I rate a classic album, I can't tell a kid today what that music might mean to them based on solely with the music, how I grade shit, what I grew up on.
Right.
So it's like with the I'm the One record, it's not for me. I'm not turning that shit on to ride around in my car, but if I'm on a cruise with my kids and shit and it comes on, cool. And I think that some of the music that he's making is in that space because it's safe. Like honestly, I could probably imagine how many fights I'm So Hood probably started, right? But at the same time, like he's changing who he is as, I don't even know I can't call Khaled just specifically an artist. It seems like he does everything in the world.
Yeah.
But it just seems like he's changed the narrative of the lead records. Now, if he has more album fillers that are the shit that we used to, cool, but the lead joints, it's just changed like from I'm on one, I'm thinking about I'm on one, like with Lil Wayne and Drake. Like we haven't got, and what's the other joint that he had with Drake? Not the, remember that one we was talking about one day?
To the Max?
To the Max?
Not To the Max, what's the other one?
Something before
The
that.
shit that he
For
used
free.
For free. Yeah, like that's the shit that I'm loving from Khaled, but these joints, I'm not gonna call it trash, it's just not my space of music.
Yeah, you're right. It's for a different audience. And again, my frame of like vision or just how I look at shit, I don't like those particular records because they don't grab me. Will they perform well? Clearly, you guys have informed me that they have. So maybe it'll probably work.
Yeah, let's check back in a week or two. We'll see. Like, I'm sure that the audience is checking for this.
But that's not getting I'm not bumping that shit up there.
All right, so maybe you're
Not
bumping
in the Mazda. No way.
the Mazda. All right,
the
maybe
Mazda.
you're bumping this next one. All right, so YG's new album, Stay Dangerous, is dropping this week. We got a new single with him and Rocky called Handgun. Let's take a look.
You niggas super sus, act like y'all be pistol dug. When them shots fire, all you niggas did was duck, 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 duck. Ghost, I don't wanna see boo. Heard that pussy loose.
All right, so that's the third single from the project so far. First of all, what do you guys think of this track and what we've heard so far?
And with YG, I just like the term, like when he explained "stay dangerous," like what it meant.
So he said it on Shade 45. So he says it's the mindset of the city right now of LA. The word came from gang culture and it became bigger than that. So people don't tell their homies when they're leaving to be safe. They say stay dangerous. So that's an explanation. So this follows, of course, My Crazy Life and Still Brazy. Just curious what you guys are expecting from a YG's project at this point.
I mean, like, YG has changed a lot. Like, and what I mean by that is like just his brand. Like he went from like not no disrespect to him, like Super Blood to like high class, like fashion dude, like out of nowhere. Like that shit came from left field. I didn't expect that from him. Like YG wears shoes now. Like you don't see him pulling up in Chucks no more.
Hey, him and Kendrick got the stylist.
Pull up in loafers.
West Coast looking
Yeah,
good.
he pulling up on some shit. But I'm starting to like YG's records a bit more with time. Swoop, I love like as soon as I heard it.
Fire.
But the one with him, Big Bank.
Big Bank, yeah.
I didn't like Big Bank when I first heard it, but after a bit, like after hearing it more and then seeing the dance, like the kids doing the dance to it, I like Big Bank. This one, I'm fucking with. I just want to hear the album because like YG, when I first heard him, I'm talking about like Tooted and Booted when he made those records a few years ago. I didn't know he was gonna. I didn't think he was gonna have this long of a career. Like I didn't think he was gonna have this long of a career, and he's on his 3rd album. So I just want to see like where headspace he's in now. Like, you know, he had the incident where he got shot. He has his daughter now. He's changed as far as a man. Like I'm always looking to listen to how an artist has changed over the past few years of them growing into being a man. Not just them having more money, but how are they dealing with all of this newfound stardom.
Yeah.
You know? So I just want to hear the album from YG at this
Yeah,
point.
I really liked My Crazy Life.
That was my
The
shit.
entire album. I think it's such a great album. So I'm definitely curious to hear the content on this. What do you think?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see the video, but I always love YG albums. That's just me. For me, somebody from the East Coast, and I'm not ashamed to say it, like I listen to YG and he kind of gives me the perspective of a West Coast, also thugged out nigga. Sorry. Like I remember listening to what was his first? First was My Crazy Life, right?
Yeah.
And shit, I'm listening to the joint. I'm like, I'm listening to a whole home invader right here. This nigga's a robber. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? But it was great. And albums like his, you know, I think it represents, I don't want to say the entire West Coast culture, but it's always like, if you're not from the West, you got to respect it. You got to respect it because he's unapologetically him.
Yep.
And, you know what I mean? I always think that, especially if we've looked at his single history, he'll give you one song that appeals to like probably that demographic that he really cares about, and then the ones that he would like to bring in. And those are the collabs, right? So you'll get a song with Drake or something like that, and then of course you'll get like a Swoop. Swoop's my shit.
Yeah.
You get me? And I can't judge his project until it comes out, but I could imagine it's gonna be great. I've not liked
ORG project. You got it. You got it. You got it. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
Because My Crazy Life, you know, I do my 5 ratings. I felt like that's like 4.5.
Word.
Yeah.
Like for real, it was a real solid album. I was actually, because it took you through a lot of different things. And I think, you know, West Coast dudes, when you listen to their music, you can visualize everything you're hearing.
Exactly. It's like Ak said, it's an energy that you don't feel it on the East Coast, but listening to it, you're in that zone.
And also, speaking of which, I love what he did. I think it was with the first album when he did, it was like a mini movie, and he kind of like, he brought life to what we're hearing, because I'm not gonna lie, again, when I do listen to people from other regions, I want to feel like I'm from there. I want to see how you're living. I want to feel that energy through the music and shit. Like, I'm excited to hear his album. I'm not gonna judge off these singles, but Swoop is my shit.
Did they ever do a video for the song with Kendrick from that first album? I'm blanking
Really
on the
smoking?
name right now. Yeah, I don't think
Sometimes
so.
I
Right?
really
Or did
be
I miss
smoking.
it?
Nah,
I wish
I
the
don't
Little
think they
Homies
did
would
it.
give that a video treatment in 2018. Such a good song. That would be amazing to watch. Anyway, on to our future mogul, Rich the Kid. So he signed with Interscope last year. He signed a solo deal. So he dropped his debut album with them earlier this year, but he's still having some issues from a previous contract with 300 Entertainment. Let's take a look.
Listen, young independent artists, do not sign with 300 ENT. There's the worst.
All right, so he signed a deal with them for his Rich Forever music label. They're under 300 Entertainment. And remember Migos saying this, right? So they said when they were signed with them, there were 18 months when they couldn't drop any new music. So it sounds like this is what's happening to him. But thank God his solo deal is still separate. Anyway, this is kind of messy. Winner, do you have any perspective on this? Because you're more involved in these sort of contracts than
Yeah, I mean, I hate to see like artists publicly do shit like this.
He did delete the video a few hours later, right? So,
Like, I hate to see them publicly do stuff like this because everybody's situation is always particular. Like in every single label that there is, people could just be like, don't sign with Interscope based on what happened with Death Row back in the days, or don't sign with them based on this guy. Everybody has their own situation on each label. Like Def Jam is gonna work for some certain artists, it's not gonna work for others. Same as a Rock Nation, and show me one artist on any label that didn't complain at one point or another. Right. So I don't know what Rich the Kid is going through, but it seems like if it's his label deal is through them, right?
Yeah,
Are we
so
sure
it's
about
like
this?
as far as I read, it's like Rich Forever Music is through them. So like he signed Famous Dex under that, but his solo deal is with Interscope.
I did speak to him, and he explained it to me because I did a video on it, and then we had a conversation just that he could explain it in depth. But first of all, let's point out this nigga's living a rich nigga life right here. Got the robe on, do-rag, and eating gummy bears in this video. Come on,
No, it's not gummy bears. We were
It's not
trying to
gummy
figure out
bears?
the
Sour
name.
Patch.
Yeah,
Sour
yeah,
Patch?
it's like the long
Black
spoon with the
Excellence.
sugar
Sour
on
Powers,
top.
those
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Excellence. Come on, what's the problem? Anyway, yeah. So Rich Forever is on 300 Records, and you know the conversation I was having with him because immediately what came to mind. Remember him saying to Uzi, "You need to boss up," and I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Uzi's complaining about Atlantic. You tell him to boss up because you have your own label. Now when I hear you complaining online like, yo, let me out of contract, I'm like, this is not boss moves.
Right.
But you know what? After a brief conversation I had with him, listen, and I'll frame it like this, and Wayno probably could get more in depth because you know how shit goes.
Right.
Rich Forever is on
300.
300. He basically delivered the albums that needed to be delivered. There's a little bit discrepancy, a little argument back and forth, but basically he wants the bag now. It's bag time.
Right.
I got my imprint here. I got this artist and this other artist on there. But if you're not trying to cough the bag up now, I need to get the fuck out of here. I want to get out of this contract for my artist. They're trying to sell this next album. So they have a joint like compilation album.
Like the Rich Forever tapes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And basically they're saying, no, you're not about to get this unless you drop the check. Fuck no, right? And 300 from what I'm hearing is saying, no, yeah, you guys need to provide this because it's part of the deal.
So stalemate.
Yeah.
So he
kind of
probably owes them a project.
Yeah.
He owes them a project
Something like that.
essentially. They probably let him out of his deal a little bit early, but he still owed something to them.
And also his artist deal, and I think that's where it probably gets hazy. His artist deal used to be on 300.
Right.
It's now on Interscope.
Right.
So his artist deal is on Interscope. And now he has his imprint on 300.
So is this slowing down artists that are signed to him? They can't release official projects, or just as part of a compilation they can't?
Well, that's the interesting part because that's what I thought too. Famous Dex came out and said, hey.
He just was complaining about
He was complaining about Rich Kid saying, hey, you're selfish. Basically saying, I'm on 300. I don't have a problem with them. You're looking for the money. And the money that you're not going to share with us, that's why you're complaining about the label.
But his
You
shit,
get
so
me?
his Famous Dex shit getting held up because he's having problems with them.
Well, we haven't heard that yet because Dex did drop an album, but before he did say his album was like delayed. Who knows what that behind the scenes is? So,
But he's also signed to Atlantic as well, right?
Ooh.
Famous Dex, is that right?
No.
Or,
Well,
or solely to 300?
Atlantic does certain things for
Services. They probably
yeah.
distribute.
Okay.
They do services for 300 Records.
Got it.
But he's solely through Rich Forever /
Yeah, because I mean, Leor is no longer with 300,
yeah,
he's at YouTube now.
but Kevin Lyles still
Yep.
has 300.
And I think that's the interesting part about like 300 Entertainment. It started and they were off the ground running,
Right.
and that's the story we see with a lot of labels, right? They started out with Thug. They started with
Fetty.
Migos.
Fetty.
Migos.
Migos was over there.
T Grizzly's over there, right?
Yeah, he's still there now. And while we were watching that whole thing, we we're like, oh, snap. A label who, you know, of course, it had these big, powerful figures within the industry who came from other big labels or ran other big labels. We thought it was going to be like, yo, this is going out. And then we see the boss, Leor, he says, I'm going to YouTube. So now you look at 300, they haven't done much.
I always looked
They're
at
pushing T Grizzly, but who else?
I always looked at 300 as like them breaking like singles because majority of the stuff that you seen was like more single based. It was like you got a lot out of T Grizzly's that record he had First Day Out, but you didn't get much out of his project, right? Like people didn't know his project as much as they knew his single. And even with Fetty Wap, like you knew Fetty Wap's singles, but it wasn't really centered upon his album. Like you didn't really get a lot of engagement from his album. It just was the singles. So I looked at them as like they was breaking a lot of the young guys that come there and just push singles. I didn't think about them as terms as a full-on label and everything. But Leor, the reason why I think it's going through Atlantic with certain things is because Julie Greenwald, she's at Atlantic. Leor and Kevin had 300 and they were all at Def Jam 15 years ago, 18 years ago. They was all at Def Jam together. So even with Leor leaving and going to YouTube, you're pretty sure with how we was talking about labels and everything switching and changing, you're gonna see a lot of the YouTube engagement and shit go filter through like the Atlantics and all. You know, all of this shit is relationships.
Yeah.
So whenever one of your homies get a new job, it's like, all right, this is the plays we gonna run. But in terms of 300, I never really looked at them as like a label that they just seemed like distribution to me, for the most part, not like a full-on label. Like just, and that's no disrespect to them. I might not be educated enough in what it is that they do, but for Rich, I don't understand why he's like doing that. Because like you said, now it's like the whole boss thing.
Yeah, no, he just wants the bag. Trust me, it's one of those situations you complain about your employer until you get the raise and you're back in pocket. You get me? So who knows? We saw this with Pump. A lot of fuck this and fuck that. I need this amount of money. I need that. And then as soon as the contract gets signed and you got your money, we don't hear a peep, right? So a lot of times, I think what most entertainers are realizing, hey, if you could use that internet for leverage to get some shit that might be stalling, like push up, and we've seen it in the past.
Dangerous place.
Yeah, no, you know, you have way more experience and probably have more knowledge in terms of. We've seen entertainers like look at how the Locks did with Diddy. Like, sometimes you got to bring it public to get off a situation, because you know why? Sometimes the label might be like, whoa, if it's not that big of a deal or whatever, or you're not that profitable. Of course, Rich the Kid, he did drop some songs, and of course, like. Famous Dex is doing Famous Dex is doing his thing, so that's a pretty valuable commodity right there. But sometimes the label might be like, yo, you're giving us bad press, whatever, fuck it, man. We'll just get you out of here. Like, just go, nigga. Like, we're not trying to be seen as the big, bad, like, evil
Well,
label.
the thing with the Locks, that was more centered around their publishing and stuff. And they went to the radio. It took them going to the radio and Diddy calling in for them to have a conversation about their publishing, but that was at like a totally different time.
Yeah.
You know, it was but they did have a whole street campaign called "Let the Locks Go," where like for real they had the shirts, everything. They would come out in the shiny suits and take the shiny suits off.
That's why the Bad Boy doc is so crazy to watch.
Absolutely.
That's why the Bad Boy stories and like everyone being back together is nuts.
Just be on top of your business more than anything.
And also, you know, it's interesting when we see these things, because we all, like, we talked to Waka. Waka came up to Everyday Struggle last year, and what he did say was that, yo, essentially, when y'all see us not putting out music, y'all think we fell off, we this, we that. But we got real issues with, like, we got legal issues with labels and stuff like that, and that slows up the music.
Yeah.
So again, this might be something just to fast track it, because these new artists, they put out music rapidly, and if a label situation is gonna stand in the way of that, it's gonna be a problem. Right. It's gonna be a problem. So hopefully he figures it out. But listen, that was not boss-like. I won't lie. It wasn't boss-like to come and complain about your other boss.
Right.
All right, we're just about out of time today. Blame Akademiks for being late. But real quick, while we're on the topic of labels, a little quick shout out to Lil Durk. So he left Def Jam a few months ago. He said he didn't want to be part of another regime change and get lost in the shuffle. So he signed a new deal with Alamo under Interscope. He's getting a new project ready. So good news for Durk.
Oh, shouts out to Durk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shouts out to Shari too. That's my girl. She works over at Alamo.
Yeah, and you know, Durk is dropping a lot of music, and I hope it doesn't fall on deaf ears. And also, hopefully, Alamo's 100% behind him. Fuck with Durk.
All right, so real quick before we go, Wayno wanted to show some love to Stam Goody.
Yeah.
His video for Clutch.
Clutch, yeah. I was running around. I was talking to my man Dro, and he asked me, he's like, yo, did you see this kid Stam Goody's video, Clutch? And I'm like, nah. So he showed it to me, and for this dude to be a brand new artist, you know, and he had like such a great video, I'm like, yo, he deserves some light. You know what I mean? Because he put a lot of effort into it. I just couldn't believe that his video looks like it cost $1 million. Like, I'm not even joking. And then to find out that he's actually the person playing a role in the video was pretty ill. So shout out to Stam Goody.
All right, we're gonna get out of here and roll the credits, but let's check out a snippet of Clutch.
Most things I prepared for. The game got a lot of layers though. I'm going out, a lot of players go. Being broke and making nauseous. Roaches running through apartments. Crossed over John Walden.